Meeting to order. Okay. We will call this meeting to order. The time is 8:08. I apologize for the delay. There was something that came up unanticipated. I will ask the Honorary David Harden, Pastor David Harden, to present an invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Most Heavenly and Gracious Father, we thank you for an opportunity to come together, not only as a council, but a community, to make decisions that will govern this town in a better direction. We ask that you shine on us and you give us guidance for this meeting. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We will start with an approval of the minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Madam Chairman, so move.
Okay.
Second.
And Mr. Kadim seconds. The first was Mr. Chase. Discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Motion passes 10-0. Vicky Soto Memorial. Mr. Kadim. Would you like to make a resolution that the gazebo in Greg Ackley Park be and is hereby named Vicky Soto Memorial Gazebo?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second for that motion?
Second, Councilman
Okay.
Harden.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No. Okay, council members, response to comments from the public forum. I will start with Mr. Dumas, please. Do you have any responses?
I do, but I will pass and come back to me.
Okay, well,
I just want to thank everyone for coming out and making a stand on what they believe that the town, how the town can be better. So God bless all you guys for coming out and voicing your opinion, because this is America, and I'm so proud of all of you, and I love you. And I'll do my best to facilitate what's best for the town. And thank you, and God bless all of you.
thank you, Mr. Kadim. Mr. Harden.
Once again, I would like to thank everyone for coming out. And it's important that you know that your concerns have not fallen on deaf ears. We're moving, and we may be moving slowly, but we're moving forward to get things done. I just want to address an issue within the 4th District, Hyde Park. We have numerous areas in our district that have been problematic. I am working with the police department to come up with a plan that's suitable that will not cost extra manpower, and suitable so it's equal across the board. Being a councilman is a very difficult task, and I'm glad that there are some people who do have compassion on us and continue to thank us for all the work that we do here. And so again, I appreciate everyone who comes out to voice their concerns, and I'm asking the community to work with us as we do with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Harden. Mr. Gresko?
Thank you, everyone, for coming out and for bearing with me. I apologize. I missed quite a bit of the comment, but I did hear Linda Palermo.
Thank you, Representative Gresko, for making it down from Hartford so quickly. Mr. Young?
There's lots of things I'd like to say, but for time's sake, I'll pass.
I just
Ms.
want to thank
Antezza?
everybody for coming out also. I just want to make a comment to the persons who are asking for educational funding. I wish they would contact the state senators and state representatives, because the state has consistently underfunded Stratford education.
Thank you. Mr. Chase?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just want to reiterate that the individual that had mentioned the drug paraphernalia problem at Hyde Park, that we will be taking that up tomorrow at the Public Safety Committee meeting. To everyone else, thank you for coming out. Your observations have been noted, and again, thank you for coming out.
Thank you, Mr. Chase. Mr. Llewellyn?
Again, echoing everyone's sentiments, thanks for coming out. I think tonight we had a good kind of blend and 9 or 10 different issues discussed. The one thing that I'll touch on quickly is something that's in my district, which is the beavers that are up in Roosevelt Forest. I just want everybody to know that in terms of due diligence, I don't think that the commission could have done more. I believe we met 5 times over 6 weeks, 4 special meetings. The only item for those special meetings was the beaver, discussing the beaver issue up there. And where we were at that is we were trying to put off making the decision to go with the trap and kill route for as long as possible. And apparently in the end, there was a decision made from within the administration, and the commission was kind of felt like they were put in a position where they had to vote, and their only vote was to ascend to the usage of the trap and kill. And that's sort of where we are for right now. There'll be another meeting of that commission, I believe, on March 23rd, and stay tuned for more updates. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Manis?
I wanted to echo Alan's statements regarding the commission, which I'm a part of, and kind of connected to education, because this is a STEM inquiry-based problem. And I think Ms. Barnish touched on it. You know, something happens with human invention, and we have to adjust for the environment. This is inquiry. That's STEM. So I'm looking for people, and I already had begun immediately looking for Eagle Scouts and Boy Scouts, and I think one of the women here mentioned it, to help solve this problem. There are engineers, there are smart people in this town, there are smart students in this town. Can't we think up a solution? And to go along with the commission, but specifically Bob David, the commissioner, I know there's a piece of paper rotating around with votes and things like that. You need to know that Bob worked very, very hard to push this vote out and to work with the town, and he begged for that dam to be breached. He begged and pleaded with the town to please do this first, and they insisted upon doing the trapping. So they were put in a position, and I think that that's really important to notice. They're trying to work cooperatively with the town. Again, I agree with you regarding transparency, but this is an inquiry-based problem. This is a problem not for town officials and governance to figure out. This is for scientists, architects, and engineers. And I know you're out there. Come up with a solution, please.
Okay. And my comments as councilperson from the 1st District, I'm going to focus on the issues specifically of the 1st District. One was the Short Beach restaurant that will be going into executive session about that restaurant. It's important that the town and every real estate deal get the best price that we can, especially for multi-year leases, even if that's all I'll say about that. The Short Beach mats, I think it is important that people with disabilities have access to the water, and I'm in full support of that. Okay? And I think that's all for comments.
Madam Chair, I'd also like to reiterate the chair's support for the mats. And also, I'd like to thank the Short Beach Commission. They came up and talked about a lot of what they're doing. They're doing some great work. To those who talked about Board of Ed funding, I absolutely support funding the Board of Ed. I was pleasantly surprised by the mayor's proposal. I think we can balance, can have a no-tax budget, a no-tax increase budget, and maintain the educational spending. You know, there'll have to be some cuts on the town side, but I think we can do it. In terms of I believe it was Mr. Miser who spoke on the drug problem. I think all of us want to do something about that, and I look forward to hearing what the Public Safety Committee does to address that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. The next section on the agenda is communications, bills, petitions, remonstrances. Mr. Young, the letter of resignation from Rita Scaccia. Do you make a motion to accept that resignation?
Yeah, make a motion to accept resignation from Rita Scaccia.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Motion passes 10-0, or was that 9-0?
Yes.
10-0, yes. We received a resignation from Jean Collier dated February 13th. Mr. Young?
I move that we accept the resignation from Jean Collier from Zoning Appeals.
I second.
Okay.
Mark Duma.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? None. Mayor's report.
Madam Chairman, I move to waive the rules to amend the agenda to take items number 5.2.2A and 5.2.2B out of order.
It's coming up next.
Is there,
I-
is there a second to that?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Can we do a roll call vote for that? All in favor?
Yes.
Mr. Kadim?
Yes.
No.
No.
Yes.
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 Okay. The chair votes yes, so that the motion passes 8-2. We are taking 5.2.1 out of order. I think because the mayor is not here, he had announced. I'm sorry, 5.2. Start with 5.2.1. I think the mayor had informed us that he would have to be late for this meeting. Okay. The schedule of committee reports. Mr. Young?
Excuse me, which one?
This is 5.2.2 A and B. It's the high school bonding ordinances.
Correct.
Right.
Madam Chairman,
I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion that we approve 5.2.2. And if it's okay with everyone, let's just vote on items A and B at the same time, and we can move the meeting along.
I second it.
Second.
Okay. Discussion. The second was by Mr. Kadim. Okay. I'm sorry? This has to be a roll call vote. So the final passage of this needs to be a roll call vote.
Madam Chair, as a point of procedure, I think we do need
I'm
to take-
sorry. I'm
we
sorry,
do
you're
need
not
to take
recognized
two
yet.
separate roll call votes.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Take a vote.
Okay. The motion is to consider both A and B together. Yes. Okay. There is a motion to consider both items A and B together. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
No.
Okay, so we are taking them both together. Okay, now, can I have a motion to
Go.
make a motion?
Madam Chairman, I make a motion to approve item 5.2.2, items A and B.
Thank you.
Wale Kadim, second.
Okay. Discussion? I would like to recognize the finance chair.
Thank you. I just want to point out, you're voting, this is the final vote.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It wasn't just moving it along. I wanted you guys to understand that
We know.
this
Yes.
would be, okay, thank
Well
you.
aware. Thank you. Okay, any other,
Here to ordinance and back again. Let's get it taken care of.
any other discussion? Mr. Gresco?
I would just like to say that I'm happy that we're doing this. It's been a long time in coming, and the first thing I'm doing on Wednesday when we go to session is to make sure that we get our 60% reimbursement rate. Bingo.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilman.
Okay, let's take the roll call vote.
Just a minute, just a minute.
I'm sorry, Mr. Kadim?
Yes, I want to echo the sentiment. The fact of the matter is that this has been long overdue. So I'm so glad that we came to an understanding, clarity, and able to come with a sound mind and body to make sure that we get this school up and going. And I thank everyone involved. It's been a long struggle. Thank you.
Okay.
Beth?
All in, I'm sorry. Ms.
Madam Chairman,
Intenso?
just for the information of people in the audience that don't have the ordinance in front of them, this is the high school appropriation. That's what it's about.
Okay.
And I'd also like to indicate I fully support this. I am going to move to reconsider immediately afterwards. There's a timetable on this, and to move to reconsider it, and I'm going to vote against reconsidering it, assuming we prove it, is because there is a timetable from the legislature on this. Technically, it could come back up again if we don't reconsider it at this meeting and vote the reconsideration down. So just to advise people, that's not because I don't support it. It's because I want to make sure that this is final so that we can move ahead with the legislation and get this done.
Okay, we are going to take a roll call vote on this. Mr. Dumas?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Okay. We are advised that we need to take two separate votes on A and B. They were combined for discussion, but the votes should be separate.
I'll make a motion to approve 5.2.2A.
Second. Bach Duma.
Okay. Discussion? All in favor of,
Oh, you have to roll.
Five-
Madam Chair, we need a roll call vote.
yes, I'm sorry. Mr. Dumas?
Yes.
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 Chair votes yes. The ordinance passes 10-0.
Madam Chair,
Madam,
I move to
I-
I'm sorry,
reconsider-
you're not, wait, let's slow it down a little here.
I'm moving to reconsider. It's a privileged motion.
We didn't do B yet.
We haven't done B yet.
I'm going to reconsider
I'm
this,
sorry.
and then I'm going to reconsider B. It's a motion to reconsideration is a privileged motion.
What?
And I move to call the question.
Okay, all in favor of, we are voting on,
To reconsider, and I'm voting no.
okay, to reconsider motion 5.2.2A. A vote of no means that we will not be reconsidering, that this is it, that
It's a
that
done
it's
deal.
done deal.
Correct.
Okay, so Mr. Dumas, you vote no.
No.
Mr. Kadim,
That we won't reconsider.
that we will not be
No,
reconsidering.
mean that we won't.
Yes.
Thank you, no.
We won't, no.
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 No. I'm still puzzled.
I'd like to know who was going to reconsider it. No.
No.
No. Chair votes no. That passes 10-0.
Madam
Okay.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve item 5.2.2B.
Wally Kadeem, second.
Okay, discussion? Okay. The roll call vote, we'll start with Ms. Manis this time. Ms. Manis?
Yes.
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 Chair votes yes, the motion passes 10-0.
Madam Chair, I move to reconsider.
Second.
Item 5.2.2B.
Okay.
Second.
I'm sorry,
Second.
there was a second from Mr. Chase already.
And
A
Madam
vote
Chair-
of no again means that we will not be reconsidering this. This is a done deal. Okay,
And-
we'll start with Ms. Manis. Roll call vote?
No.
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 And chair votes no. That passes 10-0. Okay.
Here we go, Walter.
Brian. Okay. The mayor's report is next on the agenda. He is not here. I would like to postpone his report. Okay, can we move on to 5.2? 5.2.1 is a schedule of committee reports. Mr. Young?
I move that we have the following committees submit the town council written reports according to the following schedule. Do we need to go through them all?
Yeah.
Okay. First month of each quarter, Board of Education Liaison Committee, Library Association, Veterans Monument Preservation Commission, Beautification Committee, Conservation Open Space Committee. Second month of each quarter, Building Needs Committee, EMS Funding Committee, Public Safety Committee, Public Works Committee, Tax Partnership Screening Committee, and then third month of each quarter, Parks and Recreation Committee, Inland Wetlands, Watercourses Commission, Longbrook Park Commission, Short Beach Commission, and Waterfront and Harbor Management Commission.
Okay. Thank you very much. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Gresko seconds. Discussion?
Here.
Yes, Ms. Antezzo.
Yes. I really don't think this is necessary since every one of these committees keeps minutes, and the minutes are available online, so I see no point in having to rewrite and waste more paper or email on doing the same thing over again. Every one of these committees has reports already.
Is there, Mr. Chase?
Yeah, to the proponent of the motion, what's the purpose of this?
It's to get actual reports from each of the committees reporting to us every, how often was it?
Every
Once
3
every
months.
3 months.
Well,
It's an update.
why wouldn't the committee meeting minutes deal with that?
Oh.
Yes, Ms. Manis?
I think that this is, I agree with Mr. Chase and Ms. Antezzo. I believe it's redundant, and it further bloats government. It makes things more bureaucratic. It involves more paperwork. It involves more things on the backs of volunteers who are trying so hard to keep and get involved in town, and I don't want to make their job any harder. We pay secretaries to take the minutes They do a good job. I don't want to say that they're not doing a good job, because they are, and I think this might have the indication that they're not. And I also think that it just bloats. It's too much. It's
I'd
just
like
too
to add one.
Okay, excuse me, Mr. Kadim was next.
Well, I mean, it's pretty much how it goes. You have someone taking minutes. The minutes are available, and it's it's redundant to have so much going on at one time. All this paperwork, continuous. But if it's something that's necessary, because the bigger picture, if it's necessary, then it is.
Okay. A call to vote. Oh, go
I
ahead.
just want to
Ms.
make one more
Intes, a last-
comment. Occasionally, there are things that have to be brought from various committees to the town council, and they will do it if there's action needed. But otherwise, it's, as everybody says, redundant.
Okay. The 2 cents I wanted to add to this discussion was that would be a way to make sure that the committees know that they can ask the council for things and to improve. Minutes sometimes tell us what's going on in meetings, but they aren't tailored to communicating necessarily with the council and telling us succinctly what they might need from us and how we could do our jobs better. But let's call the vote on this. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Okay. All in favor? We're voting on the resolution for committees of the town council, not
I'll call for a
commissions.
roll call vote.
Okay, let's call to submit written reports to the council every 3 months. So let's call for a roll call vote. Mr. Gresco?
Aye.
Mr. Hardin? Mr. Kadim?
No.
No.
Okay. Mr. Young?
Yes.
No.
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 And the chair votes yes, so the motion fails. Okay, thank you. We're now going to allow, are you ready to make your report?
I am, Madam Chair.
Okay. Nice carnation.
Thank you. It's in celebration of St. Patrick's Day, and I know Councilman Young is looking at me thinking I'm maitre d' on the side, perhaps, at a restaurant, but I was at the Irish Scholarship Dinner this evening where all the chief elected officials go to at the Holiday Inn of Bridgeport. So we do this every year. I would never make you look bad, Councilman, or State Representative, I should say. But I'd like to thank you for giving me the opportunity for giving my report at this time. The budget for the next fiscal year has been distributed to all the members of the council, along with the proposed capital plan. I look forward to working with all of you regarding the budget process in the upcoming year. The Mayor's State of the Town address is scheduled for Tuesday, March 22nd at 12 noon at the Orono Country Club. The event is hosted by the Stratford Rotary Club and the Chamber of Commerce. All are invited. If some of you haven't noticed already, depending on where you live in town, street lights are being replaced throughout town with new LED lights. The new street lights are projected to save the town over $200,000 in utility costs over the next year. Some good news, in addition to the savings, and Andrea Boycevan is here, our public health director. The Stratford Health Department was awarded national accreditation. Our health department has demonstrated increased accountability and credibility to the public, funders, elected officials, and partner organizations they work with. We are only the 3rd public health department to achieve this goal in the entire state of Connecticut. So if you have an opportunity, congratulate Angie and her staff for getting that goal. If some of you haven't heard, we have gone out for an RFQ for payroll. The RFQ will be out for 5 weeks, ending on April 17th. We'll keep you updated as far as that process continues, and we'll share the information with you. The Army Engine Plant, we spoke to the Army today. They are having a conference call with DEEP and the Army Corps of Engineers, along with the Army, regarding the Stratford Army Engine Plant. So we continue to advocate for a plan for remediation. We're hopeful. However, we feel as though Thursday will probably be a big day to get all the 3 parties together and hear from the Army Corps what their take on everything is. And of course, St. Patrick's Day is this Thursday. We'll be doing an Irish and American flag raising at 9 a.m., and we will be joined with a bagpiper, the Stratford High School band. So please join us. It's 9 a.m. We're going to have coffee, and there's also an Irish soda bread contest. So if any of you make Irish soda bread, bring your product, and we'll have it judged, and we'll select the winner. But it's a good time, and it's a lot of fun. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. We have 3 appointments on here. The town historian, will you be making an appointment?
I have a question. Can we ask the mayor a question?
No, not yet. That's later in the agenda.
What?
The
Not at this time, not for town historian or architectural review board. We do have 2 appointments to the Economic Community Development Commission. At this time, I'd like to move forward the names of both Neil Sherman and Mark Calzone.
Okay, thank you very much. Those do not require a council vote, though, correct?
I believe they need affirmation. Yes.
They do. Okay. So you're making a motion?
Yes. Neil Sherman, I'd like to move to be a member of the Economic Development Commission.
Brian?
Separately.
Brian? Mr. Leclerc? Do we...
Madam Chair, I run to a point of procedure. We're in the middle of a public meeting, and you're having a private conversation in the middle of the rostrum. We have a recess, but...
Okay, we'll recess for 2 minutes.
Well, that needs a motion.
Okay, make it...
I second
I'm
it.
sorry, wait a second.
Aye.
I'm sorry, that... Okay, the council can stand at ease. There's a break in the meeting.
Stand at ease.
Stand at ease. There's a break in the meeting for 2 minutes.
Don't we need to move for a recess?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I heard that.
But it's really the name after nomination. You just vote on that.
You like only the M&Ms.
Okay, I'm sorry for that. Learning the intricacies of the town code and town charter comes up every now and then. So the mayor is putting out two names for putting out one name for affirmation
Right.
for the Economic Development Commission.
We'll do one at a time. The first name is Neil Sherman. I'd like to move his name forward.
Okay, so we just have a vote for the affirmation of Neil Sherman. All in favor?
What are we voting? We're supposed to have discussion. Mr. Flores said that. I asked you right before the meeting started.
Excuse me, wait a second. Do you have a question for the town attorney, Ms. Manis?
Mr. Florek, when I asked you if someone is nominated by the mayor, and you said, and I said, well, when do we talk about them? Because one of these names is someone I want to talk about. And you said after he's nominated.
You have to confirm the mayor's nominations, yes.
But you said there's discussion.
So there is discussion,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We're not going for a vote.
Mr. Florek, I'm sorry, aren't we going straight to confirmation? He put out a name, and then do we go straight
The
to
mayor
confirmation?
nominated the people. The council has the authority to confirm. In order to confirm, you can have discussion on that matter.
We can have discussion about the confirmation
Correct.
before we vote.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, discussion of Mr. Sherman's nomination. Okay. Ms. Manis?
I'm excited that Neil is coming forward. I think he has a lot to offer the town with regards to economic development. I wanted to publicly apologize because online I cited that he did not support Exit 33, and he in fact did. So I wanted to make sure that that was clear because he does support that, and that's important for economic development in our town. I also wanted to address some comments that were made by Mr. Sherman with regards to a friend of mine, Denise Dumas. I don't appreciate them. I don't think that they're becoming of a person being on the commission, and I hope that once Neil is confirmed, he will think very long and hard before he talks badly about a friend of mine or anybody's friend. I don't think anybody deserves that, and I know Mr. Sherman has dealt with things as well. So I'm hoping that we're all going to be a lot kinder to each other. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any other discussion to be offered here?
Mr. Sherman, You definitely
I'm
have...
sorry, your
Madam Chair,
discussion.
regarding Mr. Sherman, I am excited that you are on this committee, and you're a voice of reason, and even though you're very opinionated, I enjoy the facts and the follies that you post. So thank you for all that you do, and I think you'll be a great asset.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, call to affirm Mr. Sherman on the Economic Development Commission. Mr. Gresko, we'll start with you.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Hardin?
No.
Pass.
I'm sorry. Mr. Young?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
The chair votes yes, so that passes 6-3. Oh, I'm sorry.
Did Bill vote?
Yes.
I didn't hear your vote. I vote yes.
Okay, it passes 7-3. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next person I'm moving forward is the name of Mark Calzone.
Okay, thank you. Is there discussion about Mr. Calzone? Yes, Ms. Manis.
I just wanted to point out that Mark Calzone is a Fortune 500 company in town. He has been named, I believe, one of the 40 under 40 or 30 under 30. He's an absolutely phenomenal businessman. We're lucky to snag him. I congratulate Karen Kaiser for doing that with the mayor. His name was forwarded, and I know he's been approached many times to participate, and that's a really great thing.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, let's call to vote. Mr. Dumas?
I pass.
Mr. Kadim?
Yes.
Mr. Hardin?
Yes.
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 Okay, chair votes yes, passes 10-0. He is affirmed.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Is there anything else that you would like to offer in your report?
Not at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Says we never do anything.
Next thing on the agenda, we're skipping to 5.2.3, which is Short Beach Commission. Okay. Mr. Young, would you like to make a resolution regarding the Short Beach Commission's recommendation?
Wait.
Yeah, I motion that we go forward with the recommendation for scouting campgrounds to allow the area between Pavilion 2 and 3 be used as overnight camping area for the scout troops.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mark Dumas, second.
Okay, discussion? Mr. Kadim.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. My question is, being a person that actually worked at Short Beach, locking it up at 10 o'clock, my question is, what's going to happen at night in terms of the security of the beach itself and the children themselves? How does that work out if they're going to be there overnight and they close the gate at 10? How do emergency vehicles God forbid, something happen if they burn their finger playing with marshmallows or whatever happens down there? The question becomes, how do we secure the safety of the children, and how do we get in and out of there if they're going to lock the gate at 10?
Okay, thank you very much. Is there an answer to Mr. Kadim's question?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Llewellyn.
Councilman Kadim, I would venture to guess that it's probably going to be the same procedure that's utilized when there's scout overnights in Roosevelt Forest, which also gets secured in the evening. I don't believe that the children or the campers or the scouts are ever left there alone without adult supervision, and I believe that's the way that program works.
Okay,
I'm
yes,
not speaking about, thank you very much, Madam Chair. I'm not speaking about an adult being there. Quite naturally, there is an adult there. Shouldn't be no children out there all night by themselves anyway. I'm saying in terms of the fact that there's a gate that's locked with a padlock, how do you address an ambulance getting in there for whatever reason may happen? An adult might pass out because they left their medicine home. Now the kids are all by themselves. So how do you get someone there? That's my question, because it has to be something set in place. Someone has the key to open it. You can't leave it open all night because anybody can drive in there and hurt those children or hurt the person that's the head of the scouts. So, it's about security also. So I can understand them wanting to do that, but I believe, first of all, safety is the most important thing. So I want to understand, how could we secure that fact? If there's going to be a police officer inside there with him, an ambulance or something have to be set up in place. It's not the same thing. Do the forests have a gate to lock people out, or is the forest always open?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kadim. The mayor would like to answer your question.
Yeah, as Councilman Llewellyn had stated, we had the same situation at Roosevelt Forest. We locked the gate at night. The police have a key to the gate, as all emergency personnel, so they'll be able to access that area in case of an emergency. It's not a problem.
Just a response. Thank you very much, Your Honor. That's fine with me as long as that part is taken care of first, the safety thing. Because everybody want to play, but you got to be responsible.
And they would also be notified, so they'd have some extra awareness that there was an activity at the beach.
And I can support that. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. Ms. Manis?
I wanted to reiterate what Wally was saying, but also regarding, Boy Scouts, fires, and those type of things. I hope that there'll be, an extinguisher and those kind of proper precautions around the campsite. I know that when I was Girl Scout, the different campsites had these things. Because they'll be alone and because there'll be no way for them to exit and, get help. So that's the other concern, not just people getting in, but other people being able to get out once those gates are locked. I know, because I was trapped in there as a kid.
I'm sorry.
So you can't get out. So the thing is that, these are the kind of things that we need to think about, and that there's a plan in place for the Scoutmasters.
Sure.
So who's in charge of that? Is that going to be the commission? Or?
It would be, the Scoutmasters would arrange it with the commission and notify them, and more people have cell phones now. Even the kids have cell phones, so I think there'd be a lot of different ways to communicate, but we'd make sure that they'd be able to have ingress and egress from that facility if need be.
Okay, Mr. Hardin?
Typically, when you have a scouting event, all the logistics are made out as far as camping. So most of these things are done prior with logistics made out in mapping, just being a former member and on the committee for scouting. So the logistics are made out, safety routes, the contact of the police and EMS have been notified. So everything is a plan. This is not just a pop-up tent that happens and no one's aware that it's happening. There are a lot of logistics that go into it, and I believe that they'll probably have that in place.
I just want to make
Ms. Zantezo?
As an old Girl Scout leader, Tina, there's a lot of sand at the beach. If you have a fire, you throw the sand on it.
But if someone gets burned...
Okay, thank you. Okay, any more discussion about this issue? Okay, all in favor? I'm going to call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes 10-0. Okay. Moving right along.
Maybe.
Okay, Mr. Young, would you like to make another resolution regarding Short Beach? On page 4. I'm sorry, Ms.
Parking passes.
Yeah.
All right. I move that with the recommendation that we approve the Short Beach Commission allowing is accepted and allowing up to 10 parking passes to be purchased with pavilion rentals for one-half the cost be hereby approved.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second for that motion? Mr. Llewellyn seconds. Discussion? Mr. Kadim. Mr. Kadim.
Ladies first.
No, Mr. Kadim, you're called upon.
There you go. Thank you, Madam Chair. My question is really, really simple. There's only certain times in the year that we actually charge for the pavilion, big or small. And if it's not rented out, you can just first come, first serve. In a situation where someone is renting it out for a birthday party and people want 10 passes, that's $200. And I understand other locations or other beaches actually charge much more than that, not just for the rental of the pavilion, but also for parking, and it's not included. So I'm trying to understand, to what extent will we go? I mean, I remember when parking was 5, 10, now it's 15 and 20. I've been here that whole time because I actually work down at the beach collecting. So I'm saying that to say it shouldn't be so much. I mean, 5 is okay. I don't think 10 is enough, maybe even 6, because this is the time that we can actually collect revenue. We don't usually collect revenue unless it's actually being rented out. So that's just my 2 cents on that.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Gresco?
Actually, Tina was next.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Manis.
I just object to this only because I think that if you come to park there and you're having a party there, I know for myself, having people pay to come or having to pay for their parking is an additional cost for me, so it would deter me from wanting to use the facilities at the beach personally. One, it's very far from where I live. Second of all, now it's going to cost me to park as well. I understand what Mr. Kadim is saying. I haven't looked at the facts and figures that the commission's put forward, but just as a person who would have the means to be able to rent that pavilion, hearing that my people wouldn't be able to come in for free, that they'd have to pay for parking, that's an additional expense I might not have anticipated, thinking I could rent the pavilion. And I'm just wondering if that was discussed at all among the commission or when this was decided.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Llewellyn, would you like to respond?
The commission wanted to explore possibly raising the fee for the Short Beach Pavilions so that it would include parking. That discussion didn't go very far. So the next sort of thought was, let's give someone who rents the pavilion 10 parking passes at half the $20 cost, so that if you have a local group and then you have your family comes in from out of town, this way for $500 out-of-pocket cost, you can have your local Stratford friends and family there, and then also get 10 parking passes at $10 each for your out-of-town guests and family.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Gresco, did you want to?
Answered my question.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, let us vote on this. The resolution would be, we are voting, a yes vote would mean that you agree that if somebody rents a pavilion, that they would be provided 10 parking passes for free. I'm sorry, for one half the cost. Okay?
Correct. Right now, they pay full cost. So at our current rates, it's $20. This would be 10 spots for $10.
Okay.
Each.
Okay, so a yes vote means that. Ms. Manis, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Llewellyn? Yes. Mr. Chase?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
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 No.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, so this passes 9-1. Thank you. The next thing on the agenda, there's
Madam Chair, I'm going to move to waive the rules to amend the agenda again for items number 8.1, dental grants, 8.4, Benel generator, and 9.1, the health department fees. We have town employees who are here, some of whom were waiting to the wee hours last time and we didn't get to them. I want to make sure we get them out of the way so they aren't tied here.
I'm sorry.
8.1, 8.4, and 9.1 to allow some town employees, one of whom is pregnant, to not be here till midnight if that's how long we go.
I must say we were going at record speed today so far. Is there a second to that?
Second.
A second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so the chair votes yes, so let's move to 8.1. 8.1, Mr. Gresco.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a resolution concerning the school-based mobile dental clinic grant and accepting such grant.
Mark Dumas, second.
Nick, you need to be called upon next time. Is there a discussion of
I'm
this?
sorry, Madam Chairwoman.
No, it's okay. Is there discussion on this? No? Let's call to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
No, I was just here in case anyone had any questions.
Yeah.
We understand it.
Okay, call to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passes 10-0. Thank you very much for your hard work. Okay, the next item would be item 8.4.
I'd like to motion to amend. I'm a little confused because this is sponsored by you, Madam Chairwoman, and I'm just wondering why this wasn't sponsored by the entire town council for the Benel High School generator.
It was simply a placeholder.
Okay.
Okay, but if you please consider it as sponsored. I didn't know whether in fact the whole town council agreed with this, so my name there is simply a placeholder. Okay. Mr. Kadim, did you want to make a resolution?
Yes.
Excuse me, could you tell me where we are?
8.4.
Okay.
Page 9.
Okay. Yes, Madam Chair. A resolution authorizing the mayor to file applications and executive assistance agreement with the state and Connecticut for $310,000 CBG grant, DR infrastructure assistance grant from the Department of Housing for the Bunnell High School generator project.
Okay, thank
Mark
you.
Dumas, second.
Mr. Gresco, did you want to second that?
Sure, I'll second.
Okay, very good. Discussion? Okay, let's call to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, the motion passes 10-0. We are at 9.1 currently. The Stratford Health Department fee schedule. Is there a motion to approve the fee schedule that has been submitted?
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
I move that we approve the requested fee schedule for the Stratford Health Department.
Mark Dumas, second.
Okay, is there discussion on this? Okay, let's call to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. It passes 10-0. Okay, we finished those three items very quickly. Item 5.2.4 on page 4 says Tax Partnership Screening Committee. That's a misnomer. It should have been Tax Abatement Screening Committee. This was simply a placeholder because if this was not on the agenda, we would not have been able to discuss their recommendations. Has the Tax Abatement Screening Committee met during the time when there was a request from the tax assessor for that committee to meet and this meeting? Ms. Manis?
Hi, I've spoken with Ms. Antezo and Mr. Kadim yesterday. We've received emails back and forth, I think you were on some of them, to set up the committee meeting before today's meeting. However, 213 was being used for the heartbeat screening that was canceled last time, and there was so there was not really a lot of time, and Ms. Antezo asked that we not schedule a meeting before.
Okay.
It's too much, so we're going to schedule it between now and the next meeting. And we'll
Okay, is there a motion to table this?
I motion to
Ali
table.
Kadim, motion to table.
Okay, Wally Kadim motions, Phil Young seconds. All in favor of tabling?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, very good, that's tabled. Good. Town Attorney's report.
Thank you. I'd just like to report that the town obtained a jury verdict in its favor on February 12 in connection with a civil rights claim brought against the town by a former employee, Ellen Murray. And I just want to thank John Henry Steele, the attorney who represented the town, for doing a great job. And that's my report.
Okay. Next thing on the agenda is 576 East Broadway. Is there a motion to take this off the table, Mr.
Madam
Young?
Chairman,
Oh, Mr. Chase.
I move that we remove this from the table and proceed with action.
Mark Dumas, second.
Okay. All in favor of taking this off the table?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion passes 10-0 to take this off the table. Mr. Young, 576 East Broadway. Do you make a motion?
I make a motion to approval of the contract for the sale of property and proposed by the EPC and release of the EPA lien.
Mark
Ali
Dumas,
Kadim,
second.
I'm sorry, can you, we need to not be screaming things out, please. Please wait until you're recognized. Mr. Chase, you seconded?
Yes, Madam
Okay, thank you. Discussion on this? Okay. All in favor? Do we need a roll call vote on this or no? No. All in favor of approving the sale?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, thank you. The motion passes 10-0. Stratford Festival Theater contract.
I have a motion that we can move 5.3 and 5.3.2 and 5.3.3 to go together into the executive session instead of trying to go back and forth twice.
Second.
I'm sorry, Mr. Leclerc is recommending that we do these two things separately.
I recommend you do it separately. Bring it to executive session.
Wouldn't we have to take them
So, just to
consecutively
clarify-
rather than all together?
I'm sorry?
We'd have to take them consecutively.
We're
But they're
going
both,
to
I
take
understand what
Stratford-
you mean. You're both going into
We're going to take them
executive-
separately.
Madam Chair, I just had one quick question to the lawyer. So when we go to executive session, we have to come back out and then go back in? That's
I
what-
would recommend that, given the nature of executive session.
Yes, sir.
What you need to put on the record if you're going to do that.
I rescind my motion to put them together.
Okay. I'm going to recognize Mr. Young for this motion.
Motion to go into executive session to discuss the contract of the lease.
Madam Chair, point of procedure, aren't these on the table? Don't they need to be taken off the table?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Is there a motion to take the Stratford Festival Theater contract issue off of the table?
Madam Chairman, I move we take this item off the table.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay. All in favor of taking this off the table?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you. That motion passes 10-0. Mr. Young.
I motion to go into executive session to discuss the contract for the lease of the real estate with the Stratford Stage Group. Public regarding such site and or the lease would adversely impact the price of such site and or lease, and to discuss written communications received from the town assistant town attorney regarding this lease of real estate, which written communications are privileged by the attorney-client relationship. The persons in attendance shall be members of the town council, the mayor, town attorney, assistant town attorneys Leclerc, Floric, Jackson, chief of staff, and chief administrative officer of the town.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there a second to that motion?
Wale Kadeem, second.
Okay. Discussion?
Madam Chair, as this came up last time on the agenda, I do oppose putting this into executive session. I've actually won cases where we tried to put this into executive session, and the FOI Commission had held that we shouldn't have gone into it with the prior council. This is an important issue to the public. I think we need to discuss it in public. There's no reason why we should go into executive session, and quite frankly, it's draws the question of what we're doing there. People worried about backroom deals and all those other issues. This is something that we should discuss in the open, in the public. Get it done, get it addressed, and let's move on and get the theater open.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Leclerc, would you like to respond to that?
I think that the motion is appropriate under as made, and that you can go into executive sessions for the reasons recited in the motion.
Okay. Does anybody need to have the motion read again? Okay. Shall he read it again so we can understand the reasons to go into? Okay. All in favor of going into executive session, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
No.
Okay, the motion passes 9-1. Thank you. Okay, we enter into executive session now. Right now. No, we have to come back. Executive session. May I ask council members to approach their seats, please? Don't get too comfortable in your seats.
We're going to move again?
We're going to go right. Yeah. Okay, motion to come out. Mr. Young, do you have a motion to come out of executive session?
Madam Chair, I will second.
He hasn't made the motion yet.
You just motioned, you waved.
Yeah, I motion.
Is there a motion to come out of executive session?
Motion to come out of executive session.
Madam Chair, I will second.
Okay. All in favor of coming out of executive session? Aye. All opposed? The motion passes 8-0. Okay. Is there a motion to accept the recommendations made in executive session? Mr. Chase? Mr. Chase?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I so move that we accept the recommendations made in executive session.
Okay, thank you very much.
Point of information. What was that recommendation?
Mr. Leclerc? Okay.
I have a clarification.
I'm sorry. The recommendation is for the town attorney's office to negotiate with Stratford Stage Group in good faith. Right, Mr.? Is that right, Mr. Chase?
That's correct.
Okay. Is there a second to that motion?
I second.
Okay. Mr. Hardin seconds. Is there discussion for this?
Yes, I move to amend the motion to have the town attorney terminate negotiations with the Stratford Stage Group.
Okay. Is there a second to that motion to amend? Okay, that dies. There's no second to that. Okay, let's go back to Mr. Chase's original motion. Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No.
Okay, that motion passes 9-1.
I call for a roll call vote.
Okay, we'll have a roll call vote. Ms. Manis, you vote?
I'm voting for the town attorney to negotiate in good faith, correct?
True. Correct.
Yes.
As discussed in executive session.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Llewellyn, Mr. Chase?
Yes.
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 No.
No.
And chair votes yes, so that passes 8-2. Okay, thank you. Mr. Gresco. Mr. Gresco.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to go into executive session to discuss the contract for the lease of real estate for the Short Beach Golf Course concession because publicity regarding such site and/or the lease would adversely impact the price of such site and/or the lease, and to discuss written communications received from the Assistant Town Attorney regarding this lease of real estate, which written communications are by the attorney-client relationship. The persons in attendance shall be the members of the council, the mayor, town attorney, assistant town attorneys Blair, Florick, and Jackson, the chief of staff, and the chief administrative officer for the town.
Okay, thank you very much.
I rise to a point of information.
I'm
I rise to a point of information.
A point of information, okay, you can ask the chair.
What testimony is the chief of staff and the chief administrative officer going to provide?
I'm sorry, I think this is out of order, though. I think first we would get a second, and that's part of the discussion about it.
Well, I can't. Oh.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Discussion.
I reiterate my point of information. What testimony are the chief administrative officer and the chief of staff going to provide? Are they going to provide any? They were in the executive session for the Stratford stage, the Shakespeare Theater, and didn't say a thing.
They're going to be here for this time so they can hear me yell at them.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gresco?
They're going to attend our executive session this go-around so they can hear me yell at them.
Okay.
Well, they have to offer testimony to be in executive session if they're not a member. That's in the FOI Act.
Point of information.
Wait a second. We have one on the table already. Mr. Leclerc, would you like to answer that question? Why the mayor and the CAO?
I have no issue with the mayor. The mayor is an ex officio member of the council and has voting privileges. It's the CAO and the chief of staff.
Okay. Mr. Leclerc and Mr. Hodgson?
With those individuals who are necessary for a full discussion of the information that's going to take place in executive session.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Ms. Manis.
I had a question regarding what Mr. Dumas said. If there was the people that he was questioning, if we could know if they had testimony to offer in order to be there. Because he's saying that they have to offer testimony, so perhaps they need to offer testimony. Are they in some way part of the project?
Okay.
I'll answer that.
I'm sorry, the mayor would like to answer that.
I think the short answer is it depends. The staff is involved sometimes in projects more so. For example, my chief of staff is point person. He was with the train station renovation project, Army engine plant. He's essential personnel in that. He deals with the Army all the time. He deals with all issues associated with the town in some capacity, so there's value by having him there. And it depends on the project, but he's been always involved in executive sessions in the past, just as an added resource.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any more discussion about this, about going into executive session for the purposes of discussing the Short Beach restaurant? No?
I would simply note that I oppose entering executive session. I think this is the public.
Okay,
that should be.
That's part of the
discussion. This is part of discussion. Okay. If you don't want me to talk, that's fine. I understand that, but I oppose holding this in executive session. I think we should stop dragging all these things out. We should hold it in the public, let the public hear. Let's vote on stuff and let's move forward. We're dragging everything out.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to move to vote. Mr. Gresco, are you in favor of going into executive session for this? Mr. Hardin?
Yes.
No.
Okay,
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
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 Okay, and the chair is also, so that we go into executive, that passes 9-1.
You're depriving me of my right to scream at them because I'm pissed at this.
Joe, whatever you read, can I copy it?
This is a very two-way